what's this video we're about to watch?
This is him kind of bashing Joe Biden or kind of blaming Joe Biden for the problem, but also making sure that he plays the race card very heavily, might I add.
All right, Eric Adams. He can
He's
barely
the mayor.
speak,
You can
so
see on his clothes. He's labeled himself an NYC mayor. Mayor Eric Adams does it. Like, give us a break,
bro. Plus or minus here, is he going to speak more intelligibly than Joe Biden, or just as bad or worse today?
A little bit better, but still very Tracy Morgan.
America. No, wait, that's Bernie Mac. Never mind.
Let's be clear, because we need to correct the front page of the Post.
I'm sorry. This is because maybe not all politicians, but we do see it very heavily with certain ones, and I think you know who I'm talking about. When they say, let's be clear, they're about to throw you some word salad. That means word salad is on its way. Let's be clear. So
the you know how they're translating the gay thesaurus or whatever, the gay dictionary? They need a leftist speak translation. Maybe that's a book. Don't steal that. Maybe that's a book idea.
I never used the term racist. Governor Abbott sent asylum seekers to New York, black mayor, to Washington, black mayor, to Houston, black mayor, to Los Angeles, black mayor, to Denver, black mayor. He passed over thousands of cities to land here. And so I don't think El Paso, I don't think Brownsville, Texas, I don't think any of those other cities should have to bear the weight of the failure in Washington, D.C. And so it was wrong for the mayor of El Paso to do it. No one should use human beings as political pawns. And I cannot ignore the fact that Governor Abbott sent migrants only to cities where there are black mayors, and is undermining our cities. It is not about the asylum seekers and migrants. All of us came from somewhere to pursue the American dream. It is the irresponsibility of the Republican Party in Washington for refusing to do real immigration reform, and it's the irresponsibility of the White House for not addressing this problem.
So I'd like to go first, Eric, because he contradicted himself in his own statements here. So the first reason Mayor Eric Adams, that the governor of Texas and other governors sent people to these cities, was because they declared themselves as asylum cities. Outside of U.S. law, sanctuary cities, they declared themselves untouched by federal immigration laws and said, we're sanctuary cities. D.C., New York, where else did he name? Los Angeles, asylum-seeking people are welcome here in these sanctuary cities. D.C. asked for them. Chicago, which he didn't name, asked for them. And then they regretted it. Then he says El Paso, Texas shouldn't be using migrants as political pawns. El Paso, Texas is where they come over the border, guy. Like, how do you just be like, it's like somebody breaking into your house and then you complain about crime and people breaking into people's houses and then saying you're using people as breaking into houses as political pawns. How else are you supposed to talk about immigration and directly affecting your city to where people are sleeping in the streets? Churches are ushering people in so ICE doesn't take them, which I disagree with, of course. And, sleeping in the middle of the street behind houses, people's yards and stuff like that. And you can't, if you talk about that, then you're using them as political pawns. Those are a couple points that don't make sense. And then not only does he blame Washington, which is Biden for the last couple of years, last time I checked, he then blames Republicans for not doing immigration reform, even though by any account of any sane human being, and you can go on the Custom and Border Statistics website and check the migration numbers, and I've done so many times this year alone while writing, the numbers are night and day from Trump to Biden. They massively increased the numbers of illegal immigrants of which they allowed into the country. So he can't say it's Republicans' fault. He just can't. You can say it's Republicans' fault, when they were in office, maybe in George Bush era, because that was the last Republican to, let it all happen. And then Biden, and then Trump drastically lowered it, and then Biden let it go up. I think I said Obama or Biden instead of Obama, but the chain of presidents as how they were voted in. I assure you that I think you're that smart. So he says all these things, and then he's just like, I'm not saying it's racism, but racism. And then also let me contradict something I just said 30 seconds ago, Eric. I don't know. Did you catch anything else in there that I was flabbergasted, as if you couldn't tell by my face, audio
Yeah.
listeners?
So he clearly, what he's trying to do is what I think he's trying to do, of course, is he wants Joe Biden to maybe do something about it, but he can't really come out and say it. So he has to throw these other, well, yeah, Republicans, but also Joe Biden. It's like, dude, you can just say that, but they, okay, you can just say that, and he has, to his credit, I can't believe I'm defending him, but he has asked for help and he has asked for them to sort of stop what's going on at the border. But to sort of save face and make sure that people know that, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a racist, you still have to point the finger. And as we know, it doesn't matter what's actually true as long as they say it. So in the same sentence, he can say it's the fault of Republicans for lacking on immigration reform, and it's also the fault of the White House. Well, which is it, bro? And when they say immigration reform, nobody knows what that means. He's not gonna spell it out for you. Immigration reform, uh, criminal justice reform. It's just a buzzword that doesn't mean anything except for give us our way, do what we tell you to do. Meanwhile, you can go to New York City and watch them hang out outside of the Row Hotel in Times Square and throw away peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And I've said this numerous times before, but how is it possible that if I want to live in New York City, if anybody wants to live in New York City, you have to show proof that you make 40 times the amount of your rent, right? So basically, if you don't make like at least $125,000, you can't live anywhere without a cosigner, without a roommate, without, like, you can't just get a 1-bedroom apartment. Most places, I think you have to show maybe you make 2 or 3 times. We're talking about 40. So you have to make a bare minimum of more than $100,000 to live anywhere. You have to have identification. You have to have proof of employment. You have to have tax returns just to rent a crummy little place in the slums of Brooklyn with a view of a barbed wire fence. So where are these people going to get any of that? What is the first step? Say you're living in the row shelter on Times Square in the middle of the city, which used to cost a minimum of $300 a night. What is their first step to getting any of that paperwork to moving out of that shelter?
There's no way. There can't be.
There's no way. There's no way. So this is one of those problems. This is like again, perhaps apples to oranges. This is like 9/11. Now you have to take your shoes off at the airport temporarily. 20 years later, they're still doing it, right? So this is not going anywhere. The Row will never be a hotel again because there's not those people. Even if they want, are they going to go? Are they working on their resume on their laptop up in the shelter? Are they gonna put a dozen resumes in a file folder and go pound the pavement and go work at a Foot Locker before the Foot Locker closes? Are they gonna go work at a CVS? Are they gonna go work at Chipotle? No, they're not gonna do any of that. They're going to continue to have stuff handed to them while they throw out the food that was given to them and claim that they want the food of their native land. Then they should have just stayed in their native land. This is all completely despicable. And for Eric Adams to pretend that he, along with Lori Lightfoot, Gavin Newsom, Mayor Libby Schaaf, the former mayor of Oakland, notoriously, who went out and said, I'm not going to tell I'm not going to tell the immigrants when ICE is coming because they help this community. I mean, it's just all so crazy, but I shouldn't let it surprise me because this naturally is a managed decline. I used to battle with this all the time. Is it incompetence or is it evil? And I used to think that these Democrats, these politicians were just silly, incompetent losers. But now it's obviously they're doing this on purpose. It doesn't get this bad on purpose. And even when Eric Adams is pretending that he's going to fix the situation, like Gavin Newsom in California is pretending that he's going to fix the fentanyl problem, it's all just a show. It's a circus, and it's only going to get worse.
I also like how he says everybody came here, and it's the whole nation of immigrants and everything. Every human is legal, but everyone who came to the country before probably World War II, they would call a colonizer. If you want to live in this world where you can come to a country and just, you know, instead of being given something like in your example there, they'll have to seize, you know, control of their lives. They'll have to get a job somehow and then um move out of New York in order to survive. So then you've got, you know, whatever towns are outside of the purview of New York City and the very expensive areas. Now they're taking an influx of migrants in the best case scenario. That's the best
And
case scenario, is that these people get jobs, save up some money, and move far away where they can actually afford something. Well, now you've subjected these places who didn't ask for illegal immigrants to come to their towns and never would have gotten them there.
like Martha's
That's now
Vineyard.
the only place. Yeah, that's now the only place for them to go. So that doesn't make any sense. So it's a nation of immigrants, and everybody came from somewhere sometime. True, except for natives, Eric Adams, you racist. Hashtag Bering Strait, hashtag original societies of the cradle of life in Northeast Africa. Everybody's an immigrant, but at some point these people had to come here and take land or settle land, or however they became ownership of the land, and those people are colonizers, which is bad. So I don't understand the point here, Eric Adams.
No,
He literally is one of these people that doesn't make any sense.
no, that's actually a great point, right? There comes a what? Yeah, World War II. We'll say the 40s, 30s or 40s or whatever. Anything before that was a colonizer, and this is stolen land, and you should do these land recognitions and all that stuff. Anything after that is, oh, we'll just let them in for free. It's all, I mean, it's completely through the roof, and it does beg the question. It truly, I mean, because you know how I've harped on the asylum seekers. It's asylum seekers. That's all he ever says. The asylum seekers, and that's the new buzzword, right? Because it's been bastardized, it's been mutilated so much. There was even a point where you couldn't even say the phrase illegal alien in New York. That was illegal. So wrap your head around that. Like, to call someone an illegal alien is now illegal. Like, but and it was all about context. It was all about control, of course. So if you got an argument with, you know, the doorman who may have been illegal or something, you said, you know, you let somebody steal my package, I'm going to deport you, illegal alien. Then you would be the one in trouble. But my question is,
right.
last thing here before we move on, how can we expect anybody, because they're all just asylum seekers now, right? They're coming from all over the world just to seek asylum. How can you expect anybody to gather up paperwork, to save money, to study for a test, to show up at the front door, knock on it, and ask for legal citizenship? How can you expect anybody to do that? And what about the people who did do that? What about I mean, I know dozens of New Yorkers who migrated legally, you know, their families, you know, in the late 90s even. We're not even talking about that long ago, really, that came from other places and actually did you know, look, I don't know their full story. I don't know. Maybe they had money. I don't know. But they run these little mom and pop businesses, kind of like the shoe store that Kramer ran out of business. Different
I was
story.
going to go with Adam Sandler's terrible movie called The Cobbler.
I don't remember that one. I never saw that. But
generational shoe salesman. It sucks. Shoe repairman, excuse me.
How do you expect anybody to do it the right way? How do you expect anybody to do it the right way when all you have to do is show up here and they'll give you a luxury hotel room? Is anybody
laundry?
Is anybody in this entire world saying, you know what, I'm gonna buckle down and I'm going to migrate to America the right way? And they show up at a port of entry. Is that completely obsolete?
I am. I would love to.
Turn it up, Jordan.